Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be continuing the series where we redraft the NHL entry drafts. We've done 2015, we've done 2016, and we're moving a little bit back in time here. We're going to do the NHL 2010 entry draft. In the 2010 NHL entry draft, the Edmonton Oilers had a first overall pick, and this was a slew of first overall picks in this era, where they drafted Taylor Hall with that selection. 761 games, 657 points. I mean, a very good selection. Arguably the best player in the draft. But, I like to throw some curveballs. But let's take a look at the rest of this list here. Sagan goes at number 2 to the Bruins. Florida picks up Eric Goodbranson. 4, Ryan Johansson, Niederreiter, Brett Connolly, Jeff Skinner, Biermierstrov, I believe is how you pronounce his name. Not good with the names, though. You guys know this if you've watched the videos. Number 9, the Minnesota Wilds take Mikael Granlund, Dylan McIrith, I believe it is. Jack Campbell, 11. Cam Fowler goes 12. Brandon Gormley, who was actually supposed to be good, never really panned out to Phoenix. Jaden Schwartz and Vladimir Tarasenko are the dual picks for the St. Louis Blues. 2 really good players. Honestly, 2 of the better players in the draft, in my opinion. Derek Forbort at 15. Joey Hishon at 17. 18, the Nashville Predators select the Goon Austin Watson. Florida gets another selection in here, picking up Bukestad. 20, Bo Bennett, Riley Shahan, Jared Tenorti, Mark Pysyk, Kevin Hayes, Quinton Howden, and then a steal at 26, Evgeny Kuznetsov from the Washington Capitals, Mark Vistanen for Phoenix, and then the last 3 picks were Charlie Coyle, Emerson Edom, and Brock Nelson. So there's a lot of good players in this draft, so I'm going to head over to the draft builder, and let's see what we can come up with. All right, we are over at the draft builder, and if you ever want to do one of these things, it's just Google FC Hockey mock draft or FC NHL mock draft, and it'll bring up this. So Edmonton with the first overall selection. I'm going to go off the board here, and this is probably because I'm a hometown guy, and I love my Ottawa Senators, but I do think this player is one of the best players to come out of this draft. So where is he? Come on, and there it is. Mark Stone, originally drafted at 178. I'm going to take with the first overall pick here. So Mark Stone, 541 games played, 476 points. Probably the closest to a point per game, if not the closest there. So Mark Stone will be my first overall selection. Going to have a little bit of controversy here, and you're going to think Taylor Hall too. I do love Taylor Hall. Tyler Seguin, really good in his early years, but it's kind of fallen off. With the second overall pick, I'm going to go a little bit down the board here. Just a little bit. We'll see if we can find him here. Come on, second overall pick. I must have already passed him because there's no way he is this low. Let me look. He was drafted originally by the St. Louis Blues, and it's going to be none other than Mr. Vladimir Tarasenko. He was at 8. I missed him. But Tarasenko, originally going 16, he has 524 points in 606 games, has been an electric player when he is on the ice, but he has to face some injury problems. So Vladimir Tarasenko, we will take with the second overall pick. I hope you enjoy that, the Boston Bruins. So let's go to number 3, and you can't hold off anymore. Number 3, the Florida Panthers will be acquiring Taylor Hall, who's had a really good career himself. Of course, 657 points in 761 games. You could probably argue Taylor Hall 1, 2, 3. I don't really mind the order. Stone, Tarasenko, Hall. I think those are the top 3 players no matter which way you cut it. However you have it, maybe you'll go Hall, Tarasenko, Stone, maybe Hall, Tarasenko, or Tarasenko, Hall, Stone, Stone, Hall, Tarasenko. Whatever you really do, I don't think it's a wrong answer. They're all really good in their own right, but I think to this day, Mark Stone's probably the best player on that list. At the 4th overall selection, I'm going to pick up the second overall player here, Tyler Seguin. So yeah, Tyler Seguin, really, really good in his early years. Kind of fell off, Dallas not looking as good as they once were, but a really good player. So Tyler Seguin, 686 points in 825 games. So moving on to the 5th overall selection here. And this one, I think I'm happy with this pick here. He was originally drafted 4th overall, so we'll see if we can find him on this board here. Ryan Johansson. he's on a comeback season. He had a couple bad years when he signed that massive deal with Nashville, but I think he's a really good player. So I'm going to take Johansson at 5 to the New York Islanders, and moving on to the 6th overall pick. And with this 6th overall pick, this is where our first defenseman is going to come off the board here. And let's see if we can find him. Not Brandon Gormley, but wow, was he ever rated high in here? It's going to be Cam Fowler. So Cam Fowler originally, just kidding, it's not going to be Cam Fowler. I lied to you. It's going to be someone a little bit better than Cam Fowler. Oh, where is he? John. Okay, well, John Klingberg was originally drafted. I guess we can't find him. Maybe he has some sort of... Huh. Well, John Klingberg was originally drafted 131st overall. But in this draft, he is going to go number 6, I believe. Yep, number 6 to... Who are we going? The Tampa Bay Lightning. I didn't draft Gubranson, so I'm just going to pretend like that's John Klingberg. Just pretend that's John Klingberg. So Klingberg, 552 games, 374 points. Now a member of the Anaheim Ducks. I'm a really big John Klingberg fan. So that is the pick there. Next up here, we have another reacher. This person was rated a little bit lower, but I think he is one of the best all-around players in this draft class. So I'm going to go with the 7th overall pick. Welcome to the Carolina Hurricanes, Evgeny Kuznetsov. He's been electric for the Washington Capitals, 496 points in 599 games. You don't have to say much about him. He's got the bird celebration. He's got the swag. He's got it all. And he also likes doing cocaine. So, no comment there. Don't advocate for that. Number 8, we're gonna be going with the next St. Louis Blue player that was picked. So they got 2 really good players in here, and it's gonna be Jaden Schwartz. I think this player is super underrated. 408 points in 597 games, and honestly, I had him on my fantasy one year, and he was fantastic. So I'll always love him. Moving into the 9th overall pick here, which is the Minnesota Wild, and I'm keeping this pick the exact same. So if you know who Minnesota drafted, we're going to keep that pick the exact same here. Where is he? From the Minnesota Wild, we are going to select. Where are you? Mikael Granlund. There he is, 13th on this board, but he did go 9th overall in real life, and I'm going to keep him at 9th overall. He's 443 points in 671 games, so a really quiet but deadly player. Next up, we have the 10th overall pick. So to wrap up that top 10, we're going to go with Jeff Skinner. Skinner, he's had a comeback year. He's getting paid way, way, way too much money, but it is what it is, right? So moving on from Jeff Skinner, 298 goals, 300 goals in 800 games, essentially 542 points. Next up, we're going to go with is it Anaheim? No, it is the Dallas Stars. And this player originally went to the Anaheim Ducks, but we're going to have him on the Dallas Stars now, and it's going to be none other than Mr. Cam Fowler here. Cam Fowler, I've been a really big fan of Cam Fowler for quite a while now, to be honest. Just a highly effective player, 366 points in 811 games, kind of the rock of this team for a really long time in the back end when they were going through that rebuild. Moving on to pick number 12 now, the Anaheim Ducks. And in this world, they don't have John Gibson, so let's get them a goalie. And this goalie originally went 187th overall, and it is Frederik Andersen. He is not appearing here for some reason, so I'm just going to write Anderson. And we're going to go J.P. Anderson, but pretend that this is Freddie Anderson getting drafted from 187th to pick number 12 here. So welcome to the team, Mr. Freddie Anderson. I think that's a definite great value pickup. Getting him at 187 is pretty insane. So we're moving on in the draft, and we have the Arizona Coyotes next, or in this time it was called the Phoenix Coyotes. And in this pick, we're going to choose another defenseman, because defensemen, you need them. You need these guys, and let's see if I can see him quickly here. Any defenseman? It's not going to be Brandon Gormley. It is going to be Justin Falk, originally drafted by, I believe, the Carolina Hurricanes. I don't know if that's 100% true, but Justin Falk, a really good defenseman, turned out to be very good. 760 games, 346 points. So another good value pick there. The next one is another one where we're going all the way down the board, and this guy might be a little bit high, but I think he's one of the hardest workers in the entire NHL. So I'm gonna draft him pretty high here, and it's gonna be Zach Hyman. Zach Hyman, another guy who is not actually showing on this list because his overall is probably way too low. So At the 14th overall spot, Zach Hyman, and for now we'll put Brandon Gormley. I don't think I select him, so Brandon Gormley with that pick right there. Did I miss anyone? Oh, that's why I messed up. I am so sorry I messed up. Frederick Anderson was actually supposed to be... Oof, that's my bad. Frederick Anderson was actually supposed to be Jack Campbell. So just pretend like that's Jack Campbell. So Jack Campbell went number 12. We'll pretend like that's Jack Campbell. Read the list on my left a little bit wrong, so please forgive me for that. But we're on to the 15th overall selection here. And after picking up Zach Hyman, we're picking up a player that honestly produces really well and kind of flies under the radar. And that's going to be Mr. Kevin Hayes. Kevin Hayes has 332 points in 553 games. He originally was drafted 24th overall, and we'll see if we can find him in this list without searching him up. It's going to make me look. Kevin Hayes, there he is, ranked 54th in this. So Kevin Hayes going to go 15th overall and halfway done now. Off to St. Louis's second pick in the first round. And here we're going to pick up a grinder for them. This guy, you know, everyone hates this guy. If he's not on your team, you hate this guy. Brendan Gallagher is going to be the next selection here. 381 points in 638 games. It's not about what he brings offensively. It's what he brings grit-wise and kind of just the work he puts in for this Montreal Canadiens team. But now he's going to be putting in for the St. Louis Blues. Colorado back up on the clock. And this one, we're going to stretch a little bit here. This player originally went 30th overall, so we'll see if we can find him here. And there he is, Mr. Brock Nelson, originally going to the New York Islanders. He's going to jump up from 30 to 17, 387 points in 676 games. So really good player there. Next up, we have another goaltender. Okay, I was wrong. So this is where Jack Campbell's actually going. Jack Campbell's actually going here. So I lied to you guys. Frederick Anderson is definitely going at number 12, and Jack Campbell's going at 18. So excuse me for that, but Jack Campbell, welcome to the Nashville Predators to be the backup for Pekka Rinne, and then eventually starting. Jack Campbell, really good goaltender. Hopefully he can turn things around for those Edmonton Oilers, get them out of that first round, get them into a deep playoff run. Pick number 19 here. Who do we have? We have Nito Niederreiter, originally going 5th overall. I think 19th is fair for him. 368 points in 732 games. A consistent NHLer. He's been around the blocks, played on Minnesota, been around to the Carolina Hurricanes, but I think a good value pick here. Next up, we're picking up a big body for the Pittsburgh Penguins here, and it's going to be someone who was originally drafted 28th overall, if I can find him in here, and there he is, Mr. Charlie Coyle. 345 points in 703 games. A really good playoff performer, big body, hard to move, hard power forward, so definitely like to see that. And with pick 21, the Detroit Red Wings, this was in the middle of their era, and I think this player would be a perfect two-way forward for them, and it's Nick Bjugstad. If I can find him in here, Nick Bjugstad, where are you at, my man? There he is, Nick Bjugstad, a really, really, really good two-way forward. I think he would have fit in perfectly with those Detroit Red Wings. But Bjugstad, if we look at his overall here, 237 points in 540 games. Brian Russ, my apologies, is next up. You could probably have Brian Russ a little bit higher, probably definitely higher than Nick Bjugstad. Actually looking at it, I'd probably put Russ above him and Charlie Coyle, but it looks like I never made that change. So why do I keep saying Brandon? Brian Rust went 80th overall originally, and this was a steal. Now he is going 22nd overall to the Pittsburgh. He was on Pittsburgh, to the Montreal Canadiens. So welcome to the squad, Mr. Rusty. You're not going to have Gallagher to play with, but I think a good value pick nonetheless. We're going off the board a little bit here too for our next selection for the Boston Bruins, and it's going to be Jason Zucker. Zucker, one of those guys, you just need him on your team. That's why I'm putting him here. Probably not the most offensively gifted player, but he still puts up some points, and he plays fantastic two-way game. So he has 300 points in 550 games, which honestly is pretty good. Next up, we have the Chicago Blackhawks. So at this time, they had Corey Crawford. We need a backup for Corey Crawford, and that backup is going to be none other than Mr. Please tell me he's here. Philip Grubauer. So Grubauer originally drafted 112th overall. There's a lot of jumps in this. I agree. There's a lot of jumps. But we're bringing him to 24th overall. The next one's a massive jump, too. It's the Florida Panthers, once again, what seems like their 17th first-round pick. So the Florida Panthers here, I'm going to select someone who just came really out of nowhere, and that's Jonas Donskoy, San Jose legend here. So let's go take a look at Jonas Donskoy's stats. 208 points in 474 games. We're keeping it rolling here with some deep picks. Our next player at 26th overall to the Washington Capitals. This is where they got Evgeny Kuznetsov. Fantastic value. Absolutely fantastic value. I'm going to pick up another depth player who's proven to be really good in the league, and that's going to be Jesper Fast. So bringing in Fast to the lineup. 200 points in 550 games, a good depth, two-way forward guy, can get some points. I really like what he brings to the roster, so going to have him selected at 26. Moving on to the Phoenix Coyotes for another draft selection here, and this is going to be a defenseman who originally went 23rd overall, and we'll see if we can find him here. And there he is, Mark Pysyk. So originally going at the 23rd overall selection. Pysyk has 100 points in 500 games, but a really good shutdown defender. Big fan of him, so I'm going to keep him there. The next up is the San Jose Sharks, and we're going to give him a goaltender here. The last goaltender in this video, and he is from the Ottawa 67s, and it's Peter Mrazek of the Ottawa 67s, as mentioned. Originally, he went 141st overall, but he's played 200 games. I mean, I think he's earned a spot on the list. And with two more selections, we have a defenseman and a forward. So with the Anaheim Ducks, we're going to select another defenseman, and it's not going to be Derek Forbort. I debated it. There's so many players you can add in here. I left Brett Connolly off the list too. But with this selection, I'm going to go with one of the Toronto Maple Leafs players, and I'm going to go with Justin Hall, who's really emerged as kind of a top shutdown defenseman in the NHL as of recent. 64 points in 205 games. I mean, doesn't have as much experience as the rest of them, but I think he packs a good punch. He's very big, good size. And the last selection here, though. The last selection, I'm going with some toughness. You got to bring some toughness into this lineup. The New York Islanders are going to be welcoming a player that originally went 18th overall, and he's 18 on this list. 103 points in 407 games. Toughness in the lineup. It is Austin Watson. So looking back, let's kind of review. Edmonton goes Mark Stone, Tarasenko, Taylor Hall, Tyler Seguin, Ryan Johansson, Eric Goodbranson, who is actually... Let me take a look here. Who's 6 on my list? That is supposed to be Ryan Johansson. No. That is supposed to be John Klingberg. This is supposed to be John Klingberg here. Then Evgeny Kuznetsov, Jaden Schwartz of the Atlanta Thrashers, Mikael Granlund, Jeff Skinner, Cam Fowler. JP Anderson is Freddie Anderson. Justin Falk, Brandon Gormley is, let me see, I think Justin Falk, if I remember correctly, at 14. I think it is, or it's Zach Hyman. Sorry, that's Zach Hyman right there. Kevin Hayes to 15, Gallagher goes 16, Brock Nelson, Jack Campbell, Nito Niederreiter to round out the top 20, Charlie Coyle. Then we got Nick Bukestad, Brian Rust, Jason Zucker, Philip Grubauer, and Jonas Donskoy. And the last 5 picks, Jesper Fast, Mark Pysyk, Peter Mrazek, Justin Hall, and Mr. Austin Watson. Obviously, there's so many different ways you can kind of compile this list, but this is what I came up with. Don't kill me if your player's not in here. If I didn't draft the right guy, I'm sorry. But this is the 2010 NHL Redraft. Let me know in the comments what you think of the list. Who should go higher? Who did I completely forget about? Because I definitely forgot about some. I know Michael Furlan was in there. Probably could have got him in there. I know there was some Brett Connolly and some other players. But who is ranked too high? Who's ranked too low? And let me know what year you want to see me do next. Maybe 2012? But I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. Have a fantastic day. Much love. See you later.